Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp. He bought a number of new and beautiful lamps, disguised himself as an old beggarman, and then, waiting until Aladdin was out hunting, he came to the windows of the palace, crying out, "New lamps for old, new lamps for old." When the princess heard this strange cry, she was very much amused. "Let us see," she said to her ladies, "whether this foolish fellow means what he says. There is an ugly old lamp in Aladdin's room," and taking the precious lamp, which Aladdin always kept by his bedside, she sent it out to the old man by one of the slaves, saying, "Give me a new lamp for this." The magician was overjoyed. He saw at once that it was the very lamp he wanted, and giving the princess the best of the new ones in exchange, he hurried away with his treasure. As soon as he found himself alone, he summoned the slave of the lamp, and told him to carry himself, the palace, and the Princess Badroulbadour to the farthest corner of Africa. This order the genie at once obeyed. When Aladdin returned from hunting and found that his wife and his palace had vanished, he was overcome with anguish, guessing that his enemy, the magician, had by some means got possession of the lamp. The Sultan, whose grief and anger at the loss of his daughter were terrible, ordered him to leave the court at once, and told him that unless he returned in 40 days with the princess safe and well, he would have him beheaded. Aladdin went out from the Sultan's presence, not knowing what to do or where to turn. But after he had wandered about for some time in despair, he remembered the ring which he still wore on his finger. He rubbed it, and in a moment the genie stood before him. But when Aladdin commanded him to bring back the palace and the princess, the genie answered, "What you command is not in my power. You must ask the slave of the lamp. I am only the slave of the ring." "Then," said Aladdin, "if you cannot bring my palace to me, I command you to take me to my palace." No sooner were the words out of his mouth than he found himself standing in Africa, close to the missing palace. The Princess Badroulbadour, who, since the moment when the magician had had her in his power, had not ceased to weep and lament for her foolishness in exchanging the lamp, happened to be looking out of the window, and when she saw Aladdin she nearly fainted with joy, and sent a slave to bring him secretly into the palace. Then she and Aladdin made a plan to get the better of the magician and to recover the lost lamp. Aladdin summoned the genie of the ring, who procured for him a very powerful sleeping powder, which he gave to the princess. Then Aladdin hid himself behind some curtains in the room, and the princess sent a message to the magician asking him to take supper with her. The magician was delighted at the princess's invitation, and accepted it joyfully, never dreaming that Aladdin had found his way to Africa. As they were eating and drinking together, the princess put the sleeping powder into the magician's cup of wine, and no sooner had he tasted it than he fell down in a deep sleep as if dead. This was Aladdin's chance. Hastily coming out from behind the curtains, he snatched the lamp from the magician's bosom and called the genie to come to his assistance. The genie, having first thrown out the magician, then carried the palace with the princess and Aladdin back to the spot from which it had been taken. Great was the Sultan's joy at receiving back his daughter. The whole city was given over to rejoicings, and for 10 days nothing was heard but the sound of drums and trumpets and cymbals, and nothing was seen but illuminations and gorgeous entertainments in honor of Aladdin's safe return. Aladdin and the princess ascended the throne after the Sultan died, and they lived long and happily and had many beautiful children. That was a classic tale, and I never tire of reading it. What about you?